In this video, we want to take a look at the random number table and how we might generate things from it. When we use the word random, what we mean is there's no specific pattern, or really quote the definition of a phenomena that does not produce the same outcome or consequences every time it occurs under identical circumstances. Our textbook uses the word random in a bunch of different places. You can see there randomization on page 44, randomized block design, 47 to 49, randomized complete block design, way back towards the end, page 643 to 652. There's a test for randomness on pages 745 to 752. And the word random variable shows up, by my count, on 39 different pages. Back chapters 6, 7, 8, etc. Pages 315 to 373. So the word random shows up a lot, and you probably have heard the word random many a time, but what it means is there's no specific pattern to it. More specifically, right now, we want to take a look at this random sampling, how to use the random number table, how to get a random number generator, random digit dialing telephone surveys, and randomization. There's a bunch of different little ones here. But what I want to work specifically for you right here is a sample problem from section 1.3 in your textbook, page 27, and it's number 12. And it says, obtain a simple random sample of size n equals 8. So we want 8 pieces of data. And each piece is going to be the name of a president. So we'll take the example that is there on page 27, and we'll pretend like we already have the 6th edition of the textbook, because this is typically what they do when they make new editions, is they simply update and they make sure that the last 2 presidents that aren't on the table in your book are on our table. So we'll go from 1 through 47. Now, what we want to do is we're going to go to table 1, which is in Appendix A for this book of numbers. And it's also on the fold-out card that's in the back of the book. You should have that, even if you have a loose leaf binder version. There's a cardstock type of card that folds out and has all the tables on it, including the random number table. Now, open that part up there to Appendix A. Pause the video if you need to get to it. And we're going to take a look at that. It's on page A1. You notice it has rows and it has columns, and there's this string of numbers. Now, you'll look and see that it looks like for every 5 columns, there's a space, and then there's another 5 digits there. Those spaces are put in there only because it makes it easier to read. But if we're going down, we want 2 digits, it might be in rows 5 and 6, so we're going to read across the space. We're going to sample with what we call sampling without replacement. In other words, we're not going to duplicate the number. So if we run into a duplicate number, we skip it and keep on going. Now, we can start anywhere we want on the table. And I'm just going to stick my finger down. That's where we're going to start. And we can move in any direction, north, south, east, west, or left, right, up, or down. And since we're wanting a list of 47 presidents, we'll just go between 0, 1, and 4, 7 as our list of possible numbers, and we'll do that 2 digits at a time. So here on the slide is our random number table. So I'm just going to, well, I already did, but I'll blindly stick my finger down, and I come in right there, which is on row 7, column 11. Row 7, column 11. And that number there happens to be 33. And I'm going to take that number and keep it if it's between the numbers that we want, 01 and 47. And I've decided randomly to read down. So here we go. There's a 33. 64, we don't use it. There's a 32, so we want to use that number. 50, we don't use. 30, we use that number. 90, no. 35, yes, that's between 1 and 37. 30, okay, we'd want to use that number, but see right up here, we used it before, so since we're sampling without replacement, it doesn't count. 24, that's a good number. 80, no. 97, no. 17, yes. 5, yes. 18, yes. So there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have our 8 random numbers between 1 and 47. And they were 33, 32, 30, 35, 24, 17, 5, and 18. So looking on that list, what presidents does that correspond to? Harry Truman, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Calvin Coolidge, John F. Kennedy, Grover Cleveland, Andrew Johnson, and then Monroe and Grant were our last 2. Now, looking at these numbers, especially all these ones in the 30s, that does not particularly look random, but it is. It's not, you're used to systematic sampling, like take every 6 numbers. So you take number 6, number 12, number 18, number 24, number 32, and so forth. That is systematic, but that's not random. So we use this random number table, and well, we got a not, what appears to be not so random, it totally is, a cluster of 4 samples in the low 30s and nothing at all in the 40s. Okay, now let's try this again. Let's go back to our same location that we were at, right here, row 7, column 11. And this time, let's read to the right, and let's see what we get. Well, we started on 33, so we get that one again, of course. And then, oh, very next 2 digits, 36. Next 2 digits. Now, remember, we're reading across the space, so the next 2 digits are 06, so that one's one we want. 87, no. 51, no. 86, no. 73, no. 77, no. 97, no. Up, 4-3. There we go. 43rd president's in there. 85, no. 26, yes. 2-3, 23, yes. 18, yes. And boom, we've got it. Our presidents would be 33, 36, 6, 43, 26, 23, 18, and 37. So the presidents would be Truman, LBJ, John Quincy Adams, George W. Bush, Theodore Roosevelt this time, Harrison, Grant, and Taft. So what can we observe out of that? Well, we had the same starting point. So of course, number 33, Harry Truman's on both. But the only other one that showed up twice was Grant. And there's nothing except for Grant in the team numbers, but it is random. Now, interestingly enough, if I had started there and started reading around again, started reading down, for example, there's 47. So the current president, number 47, would have gotten chosen had we gone in a different order, decided to go in a different order. So we can also, in that same sort of way, consider a set of 6 coin flips, heads or tails, and we could flip the coin 6 times and record how many heads we get, anywhere between 0 heads and 6 heads, and repeat that 8 times. Now, with 6 coin flips, we'd probably think we were going to get 3 heads, but we won't every single time. So we could repeat that experiment 8 times, and that would basically generate a random set of numbers also, but not exactly the same as we'll discover when we get to discrete random variables in chapter 6. So this was a random sample that we did of choosing the presidents. And you need, by way of this example, to realize there's a difference between random sampling and some of the other sampling methods like convenience, systematic. There's a nice summary figure on page 34, figure 5, and that's actually the easiest way to do that. So at this point, I would suggest you work some of the homework problems from chapter 1 in sections 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. work those problems, and then go ahead and continue with the remainder of chapter 1. So in chapter 1, our first piece, we have 6 sections, 1 to 1:6. We've finished them off basically. So read the book, work the suggested problems. And then coming up next, we're going to take a look at organizing quantitative data.